Why do you podcast? That's one of the questions I ask all my guests in this podcast series. In over 100 episodes, I've gotten more than 100 different answers, and I'm still curious for more. I'm Annalies, a strategic podcast manager in Belgium, and I confess, a podcast junkie. Please join me in listening to this new episode and discovering yet another podcast why. Along the way, you will also get lots of tips and inspiration to apply to your own podcast or to get you started. Enjoy! Hello, Emily. Welcome to Why Do You Podcast?
Hi, Anne, Alice. I'm happy to be in your show and actually speak with you today.
Yes, you're very welcome. And we were talking a little bit before you. I think it's obvious. People can hear that you have an accent, but you're a very international lady. Yeah? So tell me, you live in Canada right now, but you're not from Canada.
Yes, and I can start actually. The name of my company is International Lifestyle Consulting.
Aha.
So, based on my title and actually in my life experience, I was born in country which does not exist anymore, former Soviet Union, in a small, what is now small independent Republic of Moldova. I lived in Ukraine for years, sometime in Russia, but I'm speaking the accent I have is Russian. And I've had two kind of big immigration in my life. The first one to Israel and second to Canada, where I'm living for 27 years. And in each country I lived, I actually changed my profession. And over the last years in Canada, I started to think where will be my next chapter and where I would live when I will grow up, meaning when I would retire.
Yeah.
And retirement for me, it's a very active part of life. And actually, the chapter when I need to work on all what I didn't accomplish before and finally to have freedom to live on my terms and do what I like. It's how I started international lifestyle consulting. I started to travel in Europe and in Latin America to look for the places when I can live in the future. And I started from Panama, Costa Rica, Mexico. These countries are very well known in North America, and many baby boomers, retirees, or future retirees looking for these countries to relocate. And at the same time, because I was from Europe and I was traveled a lot in Europe and I had connection in Europe, I started to think and look for connections in such countries as Italy, Portugal, Spain, Greece, and Bulgaria, just to cater to the different type of people in North America who are interested to relocate and retire or maybe travel for the long time to the south of Europe. It's how concept of international lifestyle consulting was born during my COVID time and lockdowns in Canada.
Yeah.
So I've had the experience of being a travel advisor. It was my hobby. Traveling, so I just accumulated all my knowledge and personal and living experience. And after some time learning about marketing, because ideas it's okay, but actually how to make your ideas work, you need to learn about marketing. It was a new area for me, but I'm still learning. It's ever changing world. So after some experiences, and I have my website, I have my blog, which last year I mostly was working for Mexico. Mexico was my number one destination. And why? Because I decided to relocate to Mexico, and I have many connections in Mexico, and it's a huge country where I was traveling every year actually to learn about different Mexico states and to get connections in the different Mexican cities. But yes, this year I switched to podcasting because I realized that I need to be visible and heard of in the podcasting world. And actually, I find out that there are different type of people who are, I would say, hanging out on the podcasting platforms. And I believe I am more associated with this type of people. So here I am. I joined at the beginning of March to the community of creative podcasters like
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
on podcasting, marketing podcasting academy,
Yeah.
and moving forward to this area.
Okay. Yeah, that's really cool. And so now I'm really curious. Uh, well, firstly, because you haven't mentioned yet, what's the title of your podcast and what's it about? But also, uh, do you record also in all these places where you travel, or
First of all, yes, and I'm apologize. I didn't mention yet, but now we will get to my podcasting experience. And name of my podcast is Age of Reinvention: How to Discover a Freedom Lifestyle and Purpose at Midlife. So actually, I extended my topic of relocation. Sorry.
bless you?
To oh, sorry, to speak about different option of reinventing ourselves being after 50. So for some people it's relocation, for other people it's opening business after 50. It's what I did. For other people, to retire and to start new lifestyle by engaging with some new projects or maybe long forgotten hobbies. So it's my main target auditory. I mean, people, professionals after 50. And I'm experimenting now with this different direction to find what is more tuning with people interest or in the podcasting world. I launched my podcast just in May. I already recorded my first season, which would be published, weekly, and I'm working on my second season now, actually interviewing everyday people. And my second season devoted for the reinvention guides and coaches. So, format and idea of my podcast. The first season, I was sharing the stories of expats and immigrants
Okay.
after 50, because I don't want it to be my stories only. Actually, I didn't record yet my story. I shared stories of others. And when I'm speaking about expats, I mean people from North America or from the West who relocated to other countries and already has experience going through, adjustment to the new culture, new language, new lifestyle. And immigrants for me are people who living in North America for years, coming from other countries, people like me.
Yeah.
And having this variety of experiences, I believe these stories might be very valuable for others who are considering relocation now, or thinking about some new chapters to start, or even for people who maybe fired from the work and looking what to do next.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to structure my podcast for the different topics like immigrant expat stories and people, entrepreneurs who started the new business or new ideas after 50s and some after 60s. to give people variety of options and opinions to listen to. And at the same time, I'm inviting now different coaches from the fields of, business coaching, personal development, psychology, positive psychology, who actually went through the personal transformation as well, and being now in position of coaching can offer different approach of self-development or help with new chapters.
Yes.
It's what I mean by reinvention,
Yeah.
because it's
Okay.
very hard to do it alone.
Yes,
You
I
need
know it is.
support
Yeah.
of community
Yeah.
and professionals along the way.
Yes. I think it's amazing what you're doing because, and especially for yes, over 50 or even over 60 or maybe even over 70. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's because it's never too late, I think, to make changes in your life. But yeah, it is not easy, especially getting older, I can imagine. Um, but yeah, that sounds really interesting. And I know, well, my partner is Portuguese and he's living in Belgium now 5 years. So yeah, I know his story and of being an immigrant, and yeah, it's not easy. Yeah,
Oh, so I found one new guest to my podcast. I'm
yeah,
collecting
yeah,
stories of such a people
yeah,
and actually looking for people, from different cultural backgrounds who started new life
yeah.
in new country or started new business. And actually, podcast, it's a new project. I even cannot say project and more than project. It's new chapter in life. It's what I discovered.
I'm sorry, I didn't. You were you froze a little bit. I mean, the screen froze. I didn't hear the last thing you said.
The last thing was I'm saying that starting a podcast after 50, it's actually starting new chapter. It's a very demanding creative work,
Yeah,
and I'm learning a lot. I'm meeting new people. There are some challenges because it's new for me, but I'm very excited. It's very interesting. I
yeah.
hope it will be helpful for other people to get experience through these channels and to get some ideas or support listening to stories.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, but yeah, and now I'm really curious also what, because you said before you were writing a blog with the same kind of stories, I assume. Why did you feel you had to make or you wanted to make the change from a blog to podcasting?
I still have my website with blog with
Yeah,
articles, and I've had articles speaking about relocation, mostly why people are relocating and what are the main direction for people to retire by relocating in different countries. I was writing last year about Mexico. I've had couple of articles when I was traveling about. Portugal and Spain, but because I realized that to relocate, to, to make to this conclusion might take long period of time, and not everyone would be in position to relocate, but I still would like to support people after 50. So I realized that only people who are active, in their lifestyle, and they're seeking new opportunities and new growth or new ideas, they actually the same people who would relocate. So, and since I already have contacts and network of creative people, they can live, all life in their country, but really be very active and traveling the world. I decided to extend my search. That's why actually I get to the idea of Age of Reinvention. Is for professionals who are, you know, not settled with what they have, and they're still learning and growing and starting new businesses, new podcasts, or new life in new country.
yeah, okay. So yeah, if you're talking with people from basically all over the world, I assume you do most of your recording online. or do you also see people in real life to do the interviews?
So far, I'm recording online, and again, I'm just started. I'm in May, and I've had opportunities. I was recently in Montenegro, but I found that for recording, you need special studio. You need some equipment,
Yeah.
which online platforms provides. But I'm open for the offline opportunities if they are. I always have with me some small mic and some equipment just in case
Yeah.
if it will be opportunity and but I do research. I have some acceptance criteria to be guest on my podcast. I do research about the person, so I prepare usually questions in advance and exchange with the guest if they wish. So it's hard to do just on hop off base, but for some people it might work.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Let me know about your experience going forward. Then I'm curious to find out. Yeah, how what it's like, because I'm only recording online. I've never recorded an episode with someone offline. So yeah, even after what is this? I have to. This is 117, and I haven't done any offline recordings, so maybe you'll beat me to it.
I did some recordings when I was traveling via my phone, but I found the issue with the sound, wind, or light, and that's why actually I didn't publish them before, or I need to do extensive editing. But audio file and audio quality is very important for podcasters. That's why I decided to use online um, s- tools, and I'm trying, to work in a quiet environment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's always smart. Yes. Yeah, because the better a recording environment you have, the less editing you have to do. So yeah, the easier it is.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm thinking you give a lot of information in your podcast. You give a lot of maybe reassurance to your listeners about
Yes.
changing your life. But what has the podcast um, given to you or your business, or what has it taught you?
First of all, I'm meeting new people. I have interesting conversation. I extend my network. So actually, even now I'm planning my trip to Ukraine, and I get help from one of the guests, which I had on my mm, uh, um, podcast session. And I believe that I'm growing with every story I listen, and I get different perspectives, and I get new ideas. I cannot speak a lot about my business because I know that it takes years in order to see some tangible results to the business. But since I'm assuming myself, I'm still startup and I'm still flexible to change a little bit direction. I'm open to new ideas, and uh, I like to learn, and it's what I have with podcasting.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, you are right. It can take a while before you get something out of the podcast for your business, like new clients or leads. But years, yeah. But yeah, at least a couple of months. But let's be optimistic; it will not be years.
That's what I'm learning from community, and I
Yeah.
understand that there are so many podcasts now, and there is competition, and actually competition in getting attention of the people who should be really attracted to your particular show. And we, as a kind of non-professional starters, should be on a certain high professional level with our artwork, presenting the podcast with quality of sound and video. And actually, I'm creating at the same time video version to be, on YouTube, and I'm working with Rumble, with different video platform. And sometimes, yes, it might take years till we learn, until we get to the exactly this sweet point of finding the market and topic which mostly resonate with our listeners and followers.
Yes. Yeah. I do agree with you. There are more podcasts, so it is becoming more and more important to have good artwork and good audio and good video if you do video too. But and good content, of course. But I think what is also very important is your personality that you show in your podcasts. And I don't record the video, so my listeners cannot see you right now, but I see a sparkling personality on the other side of the screen. So I think you'll be okay. Yeah.
Thank you. And how long and what is your experience with podcasting world? I've heard you've had more than 100 episodes,
Yes,
and where
in
did
this podcast
it
I
lead
do.
you?
Yeah, this episode will be number 117. I'm a podcast manager, so I help my clients to create their podcasts. Yeah, specifically, well, I do editing and stuff, but I specialize in the marketing and the strategy behind the podcast. But yeah, I've been doing this now. I have been a podcast manager the last 2.5 years. Yeah, now. And well, it's basically in Belgium the market is still really small. You are getting more and more podcasts, but you cannot compare to Canada or the US or yeah. So everything is still new. I'm also learning a lot. That's why I'm in the Podcast Marketing Academy, in the same community as you are, to learn a lot from Jeremy and the others, of course. But yeah, I have this podcast which I've been doing for a year now. So yeah, I've been very active with this one. And then I have another one in Dutch that is called, well, I'll translate the title. It's called Podcast Growth. And there I started that in last March, I think, or February. Yeah, beginning of this year. And I'm at 21 episodes. That's a weekly show. This one is more well, this one doesn't have a really set frequency. it's I record them and then I see when they are ready to publish. Yeah, but yeah, I love it. And for me, I've been getting clients out of it. Well, not since day one, obviously. That would be very lucky. But yeah, it's working for me. So yeah.
How many years you are recording?
Recording since October 2023. So yeah.
And you get already clients for
Yeah.
your marketing business,
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
And you're saying that in Belgium it's not very popular, but the fact
Well, it
is,
is getting popular now, but yeah. In I think in Canada and the US it's been popular for at least 10 years, and here it's only getting there now. So yeah.
but you're on the first line.
Yeah, I
Good
am.
for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm loving it, and I'm learning so much also, not only about podcasting, but about all different kinds of topics, because my clients, because the market is so small here, I don't really have a niche. My niche is podcasting. Yeah. So I have so many different clients talking about so many different topics that I'm learning a lot, and I'm loving it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, it was a pleasure. I have one more question for you, actually. What do you? Because I ask this to all my guests, and I'm trying to find the perfect recipe for the best podcast. So, what is the number one ingredient according to you for a good podcast?
I think it's a guest.
Yeah, really? Yeah, cool.
It's actually the guest, because based on my guests, I'm learning about them. I create the question, we have conversation, and at first there were people that I knew before, kind of my circle, and now I get to the level when people that I mostly see online, and it's a matter of discovery,
Yeah.
and chemistry, and to find chemistry during the podcast conversation. But it's a lot of responsibilities on my side to prepare and actually to create the conversation to be interesting not only to me and guests,
Yeah.
but to be done according to what I promised to my listeners, to be full of information or messages or ideas that people can get to themselves to think about it later.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. The guests, yeah, yeah. Especially if you have a podcast with a guest on every episode, they are pretty important, I can imagine. Yeah.
I am planning actually to have my solo podcast as well, but I
Okay.
decided after having a series, it's on my plan to analyze myself and to get to share with people what I think, what I learn from the meeting of this or other person, and actually to speak about my personal experience, which I was mostly just described in teasers for different topics, but didn't speak precisely. And I believe that with my travels, like I will have more stories. But my life became very intense lately, so I don't have time, to summarize all this in podcast manner. I mean, my personal story.
Yeah.
Here I am now working on my next business development, I would say.
Yes. Okay. But yeah, your personal story is not going anywhere. It's only evolving more. So when the time comes, it will still be there to tell. So yeah, no pressure.
I
I
believe
think.
so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think it would be really interesting, uh, also for your listeners to hear your story. So definitely do that, but at the right time. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I wish you a lot of good luck with the rest of your podcast series and your business and everything else you will do in life and all your travels. And well, yeah, keep us posted in the podcast academy community. And well, thank you for being my guest.
Thank you very much for inviting me, giving me opportunity to share a story about my podcast, and actually to be connected with podcasting world in Belgium and in Europe, because I am visiting Europe and probably will visit it even more often than before.
Okay, that's good to know. And if you're ever in Belgium, just send me a message. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. I'm happy that you chose to spend your time listening to me and my guest. And I hope you enjoyed our conversation. If you don't want to miss any episodes, just click follow. You will recognize the English spoken episodes by the little country flag in the episode title, which tells you where my guest is from. If you would like to do my guest and me a huge favor, then please give both of our podcasts a 5-star review. And we also love to hear from you, so don't hesitate to send us a message. You can find all our contact details in the episode's description. Till next time!